Yeah, so my name is Alex Ofula. I'm a full-time developer at I Love Black People, basically Bill Murray. So me and Tongai, it's been a couple of years now. We're involved in developing a mobile wallet for our company. And one of the integrations we did with that development was with adding a Lightning transaction. And the whole idea behind that was to we're trying to have remittances available from the African diaspora to Africa. And so we tried adding that integration to sort of really reduce the amount of times, the amount of time it takes to process transactions. So I guess that's basically how I'm connected to this. And for the rest of the panel, I think the best way to view me would be somebody who's developed in Lightning at a pretty early stage, but I don't develop on it a lot right now. So really that's where I'm coming from with this topic.
My name is Tongai Choto, co-founder and CEO of AfriBlocks. We are global Pan-African freelancers marketplace. And what we do is we seek professional, talented developers, designers, engineers, and marketers from the continent and connect them with remote jobs across the world. And we are super excited and super happy to actually be a co-host of the Black Blockchain Summit this year, which has been, super educative with amazing blockchain leaders and educators, innovators, entrepreneurs. And about Lightning, like Alex just mentioned, we actually work together at BitMurray, now Bill Murray, and I was product development, working together with Alex, and we actually, did a few first. One of them was, to become one of the first companies to get a remittance license from a reserve bank to literally explicitly use Bitcoin to do remittances, which was amazing. We partnered with a local bank, local commercial bank to do remittances from the USA to Zimbabwe, which is where I'm calling in from right now. That is Zimbabwe. So yeah, I'm super excited to be on this panel and happy to learn and to share more about Lightning.
So I'm Eric Martindale. I'm the CEO of Fabric Labs, which is more of a research and development house where we try to push the boundaries of what's possible with Bitcoin and blockchain-based technologies. For the past year, we've actually been working on a project called Portal, and I think I did talk about it last time. But basically, it's a properly decentralized exchange using atomic swaps on top of Lightning, such that you can trade assets across chains without having to rely on any counterparty risk. So I've been in the space for, I guess, the better part of 10 years. I've worked at a payments company called BitPay. I've also worked at the notorious Blockstream, which is another research and development house. So yeah, that's my background. I've been doing development my entire life, and Bitcoin has kind of subsumed it for the past 10 years. So
my name is Jarek Warren, and very simply, I'm a mobile engineer at Gemini. I mainly focus on building out the mobile product and helping our customers navigate from onboarding to buying Bitcoin very, very seamlessly. I'm excited to be here. I'm very passionate about educating our people on this new asset in all areas. So without further ado, I just want to say hello and thanks for having me.
All right, as someone who is Litecoin ignorant, my first question is actually twofold. One is going to probably reveal how ignorant I am of Litecoin, and I mean, not Litecoin, of Freudian slip, of Lightning Network, but it's something that's kind of stirring in my back of my mind. My understanding is why not just work on Bitcoin alone? That's the first ignorant question. The second part of the ignorant question is, I understand that Lightning Network has a denomination smaller than Satoshi. So if you have a denomination smaller than Satoshi, doesn't that just ruin the paradigm of the scarcity of Bitcoin in the first place and make it more like fiat? So you can all take this question, or so why not just build on Bitcoin proper to do whatever it is you need to do? And the other part of the question is, doesn't the added denomination to Lightning Network kind of just make it more analogous to fiat than it is to a scarce cryptocurrency?
All right, sure. So I'll just start with the fact that, Bitcoin is still an early technology. We're still in the very early stages. And I'm one person who has been developing on it, since 2015. And, we've built a remittance platform. And we actually had a transaction from Nigeria to Zimbabwe using the Lightning Network as the first, remittance transaction in the world with Alex as well. So one thing with Lightning though is with Bitcoin though, the transaction numbers per second is really low. It can do 5 to 7 transactions per second. And if we compare that to say Visa, it does up to 65,000 transactions per second. So that is a problem that does not allow Bitcoin to scale to the extent that we want it to get. Because right now, Bitcoin is mostly being used as a store of value, speculators and things like that. And for it to get to the level where, for example, El Salvador is taking it, where, people are actually able to use it on a daily basis, with fast transaction speeds. That's where the Bitcoin community say, let's build this layer on top of Bitcoin, which is called the Lightning Network. And what that layer allows is it allows the transaction number and the speed to grow exponentially, even up to 25 million transactions per second. And the reason being, people connect their nodes in the network, and the bigger the network is, the bigger the number of transactions that can occur per second. So that's Lightning is one of those solutions that is taking us in the right direction. People building on, the blockchain that's really a super early technology to say, now can we have more people participate and more people be able to use it?
Eric, you want to add something?
Yeah, I would talk about it from the 10-minute block time window, which plays into the question of how many transactions per second are possible. And I guess I kind of want to also dovetail it to your second question about it becoming more of a fiat type system. First of all, Bitcoin is kind of the ultimate stable coin. 1 Bitcoin is always equal to 1 Bitcoin. Just because we look at it in dollar prices every day and we see the price going up and down, that's still tying us to the old world. That's still tying us to the legacy fiat system. So as we suspect that Bitcoin will continue to increase in value over time, it might become the case that 1 Satoshi equals $1 in the real world. And so subsequently we'll want smaller and smaller denominations, right? But at the end of the day, 1 Bitcoin is still equal to 1 Bitcoin. There's still, 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. It just happens to be increasing in purchasing power. The reason to develop something like Lightning is going back to Ian Grigg's financial layers of financial cryptography, where you have accounting separated out from payments, and there's several other different layers. But really, it's two primary reasons. Bitcoin only settles once every 10 minutes. You cannot accept a Bitcoin transaction without confirming it in the blockchain. And that, at the end of the day, is going to take probably on average 10 minutes worth of time at a minimum, depending on how much fee you pay. Whereas Lightning is a fundamentally different design. It is strictly peer-to-peer, and the transactions are already confirmed in the blockchain and come with a special type of what's called a hash lock, which makes it so that when I pay you, it's an instantaneous payment as opposed to waiting that 10 minutes. So it's a fundamentally different architecture that really brings Bitcoin into being that instantaneous payment that I think a lot of the early proponents of it advertised. Even though it wasn't instant, it wasn't free. Lightning brings it a lot closer to that, and a lot closer to being a tangible reality for being a payment solution.
Alex, did you want to add something to the conversation?
Yeah, I think I kind of like where Eric ended up, because like I remember like back in the days, it's better now, but back in the days you'll have like a lot of the development you'll do out and have to be paid from abroad. Like somebody will ask me before PayPal. Bank was definitely out of the option because of the time. And most of us didn't have PayPal accounts, or if you did, you got paid. Local banks didn't take that. So like you'll just have money sitting around in PayPal, and you'll have people maybe do those transactions for you or on your behalf. So like, and when Bitcoin came, the thing that it really promised was, okay, so like transactions from country to country, really simple, really fast. and at an affordable fee. So I think once I got started with developing on Bitcoin, like I think for me, it kind of solved that issue of getting cross-border payments. Like I could relatively get payments from abroad faster than I got through any other platform. But after some time, I kind of got, okay, for me to have to wait maybe 30 minutes for a transaction to happen at a local level, like, say somebody within my country is paying me, kind of did make sense anymore. So I think that's where a platform like Lightning comes in, because like Eric said, it gives you that, like it's kind of pushing Bitcoin to like initially what people are promising about it, like really fast transactions at a very small fee. So for me, I see that's where Lightning is really coming in terms of why do we add this extra layer to the Bitcoin network.
And Jarek, I think people, at least for those who are just regular consumers, think of Gemini in terms of just being a place where individuals can exchange fiat for crypto. But how is Gemini using Lightning in terms of, you know, any type of enterprise solutions, or is it just something that's running in the back end that we don't even know about?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Good question. So Gemini's main purpose is to empower the user and empower the individual. So in terms right now, we are not currently using Lightning. We're keeping an eye on it and making sure that, because we're an institution, we'll make sure that all the regulatory compliances and everything like that work for us before we bring something like that to market. So we're paying very close attention. But what I will add, and what everybody else was saying about Lightning Network, is that when you think about the Bitcoin protocol and payments that are on chain, Eric is right, it takes about 10 minutes. What Lightning does is that it allows you to move your payments off chain and allows you to transact very, very fast in what is called a payment channel. And as long as those payment channels are open, you are able to transfer money all the way across the world. For example, I could transfer USD dollars into Bitcoin, go all the way to El Salvador, and then get it in their native currency. And then it settles on the blockchain almost instantaneously. And so it's amazing. Jack Dorsey at Twitter has endorsed it. Strike Labs, Lightning Labs is what he's been working on. There's a couple of apps out there. Strike comes to mind where you can integrate it as an API. And so to circle back to your question, Gemini is definitely paying attention to this. And currently right now, we don't have a solution for Lightning, but we're paying very close attention to that.
Okay. Eric, you know, as a non-technical people who are like, okay, I know I want to do something, let's say hypothetical, international. Let's say I want, you know, I have a family member, which I do, that lives in the Caribbean, and they do, you know, phenomenal art. And, you know, I want to bring that art to American use case, but I'm a small business person where she's a small artist. You know, what are some turnkey solutions, or what could be used? Because there's an issue going from US dollar to, say, Trinidad and Tobago TT dollars, and having that type of interaction. What is some places that we should start looking at, small business people start looking at Lightning Network as some type of turnkey solution?
Yeah, so it sounds like you're talking about two components here. One is the exchange to local currencies, and the other is sort of a turnkey drop-in solution for accepting payments. So there are a lot of just pure Bitcoin accepting services out there, but I generally refer people to BTC Pay, which supports both Lightning and native Bitcoin payments. It is an open source implementation that is compatible actually with BitPay if you prefer to have, you know, a company doing it. But they're like a self-hosted Shopify. They create little shopping carts for you. They generate Lightning invoices. So they make it very easy for the customer to make payments in both regular Bitcoin as well as Lightning. That's usually my number one recommendation. Of course, the ecosystem having been around for so long at this point, there's just too many to probably list. But I definitely lean towards recommending that people self-host or run their own solutions rather than trusting a third party, because after all, Bitcoin is intended to eliminate trusted third parties. So if you're relying on somebody else's services to do your business, you're introducing a potential point of failure at some point, someone who could potentially censor you and stop your transactions. So BTC Pay is probably my number one recommendation.
So where do we go to learn about how to, especially as a non-technical person, on how to actually host your own node, and what is the learning curve for that? Because I think sometimes people just don't know where to get started.
That's an extraordinary question, and I think that's a place where, you know, us as potentially the vanguard of this Bitcoin wave, you know, that somebody said earlier that we are still very early. Helping your fellow neighbor and just reaching out and spreading knowledge, I think, is a good way to do it. But it's a rabbit hole, and it definitely takes time. I like to tell people not even a full education, but an education in the space on liberty and freedom, you know, probably takes a good 2 years. You're gonna stumble at first, but you just got to keep trying, and you'll get it. And then ask a friend. I know Twitter maybe not the best place to have rational debate, but it certainly is a good place to find connections of people who can, you know, chime in and share their knowledge and help you out on your journey.
Okay, Tongai, and also Alex too, because I know you're working on the remittance level with Bill Murray. So give us some insight on how what you've done in the past with Bill Murray can be utilized globally.
Sure. Yeah, just to add, Lightning Network. That's a website that has helped me a lot to just learn the basics of, you know, what Lightning, building on the Lightning Network means and what it is. But, you know, just to talk about some of the things that we are also currently building, because AfriBlocks is about 5,000 professionals from about 7 African countries. And one thing that has been a challenge was making payments, because these are different countries, different currencies. But for example, right now we have a UI UX developer in Nigeria, and Nigeria does not accept PayPal. And making a wire transfer doesn't make sense, because the payment for, say, a page is about $200. So wire transfer is super expensive. Western Union is super expensive. So we had to pay them using Bitcoin. But the interesting thing now comes where, you know, now you have this whole network, because what was difficult for African professionals to serve the whole world was you would find a professional, but as an individual, a small business in North America or the UK, you also don't have the time to figure out how to pay them. So what we are building is that technology infrastructure that allows those transactions to occur seamlessly. And Lightning Network is one of those solutions, because we have freelancers that do 3 or 5 jobs a month, and they say, you know what, I prefer to just be paid at the end of the month. So that's where you can open a channel between, you know, the platform and that professional in Ghana and in Zambia, and then they can be paid, you know, instantly through that whole Lightning network. So I know I digress, but I just got excited. These are some of the solutions that literally help us as Black professionals globally to be able to interact, to do business, and to be able to get a software system developed, get a website developed, and pay each other, and, you know, keep working together. So those are some of the use cases, and remittance, you know, with Bill Murray as well, has been super exciting. Like I mentioned, that transaction from Nigeria to Zimbabwe, that means we can do it from any country to any country. Because one thing that's crazy is Zambia is next to Zimbabwe, but if I want to make a wire transfer, in the cloud, somewhere in the cloud, that transaction has to be approved via the SWIFT system, which is an American company, which is just mind-blowing. That sometimes you're like, okay, maybe I should have just drove to Zambia at the end of the day, because this transaction is being approved in the United States, but Zambia is next to us. So those are some of the things that Lightning Network would definitely help. And again, it goes to that adoption and that more people being able to participate globally.
Alex, did you want to add something in terms of the education about the Lightning Network, in terms of you know, how people can learn how to set up Lightning Network between their peers?
Right. Yeah, I think for me as well, like I think a lot of documentation resources I got was from the Lightning community. I think the URL is probably like lightning.community. So like a lot of resources around developer guide, where to start, how to move on from there. I think that's where I got a lot of the information from. Then there's also Jameson Loop. He has a lot of information around basically developing the Bitcoin space. And I think he has like a specific section on his website with like educational resources. So if you just visit his site, lopp.net, there's a Bitcoin resources section. So like I also got a lot of really relevant, helpful information in terms of developing the Lightning Network from there as well.
What are some interesting enterprise cases, people experimenting with Lightning Network that are actually have some things that are in play that people might not know about, but they'll find fascinating? Jarek or Eric can take the question.
Yeah, I'll try this for a second. I think one of the most amazing things about Lightning Network is the whole shift of thinking how people get paid for small tasks. Or for example, like Tongai just said, like if you work 2-3 days, you want to get paid every single day. For example, for enterprises, streaming services, for example, you no longer have to subscribe to Wall Street Journal just to $45 a month to read the newspaper. Just use the article and just get charged 10 cents. HBO Max, no longer have to pay $9.99 a month, just pay for the movie that I want to see, stream for a little bit of time. There's a lot of different ways to kind of do some of these payments. And then also for remittance and paying bills and everything like that on different levels of enterprise. And I know that Eric has a little bit more, so I give him some time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would say that there are two primary areas I'm most interested in right now. So my current company, Fabric, actually works on the first one, which is compute. So because Lightning allows you to make such small incremental payments, you can divide computer programs into smaller pieces and then pay peers to compute those portions of the program. You can think of this like Amazon Web Services or cloud hosting, but instead of having to trust, say, those big companies, you're actually trusting a network of peers, and you have cryptographically verifiable proof that they executed the program correctly, and they're able to lay claim to the payments that you outlaid for them. So that's what my company is doing currently, and I'm obviously very excited about that. The second, which is more of a research thing and I think is slowly developing, is the energy idea. And again, this Lightning lends itself to very small incremental payments. So you might be able to imagine that your cell phone charger might make incremental Lightning payments to the wall on a sub-second or even a per joule basis, such that you are actually only paying for the power that you draw. And you can imagine in the future, devices exchanging energy, exchanging power and paying each other as sort of a background thing that you don't even necessarily think about. But it's a nice way of actually enhancing the power grid as people can actually balance and distribute power more effectively. And Bitcoin mining plays into that, obviously. As we see Bitcoin mining become more and more decentralized in the sense that the technology gets closer and closer to hardware limits, and it ultimately will become cheaper and cheaper over time, you'll start to see all of this type of energy-focused infrastructure take place. And I think Lightning is really a no-brainer in terms of creating a network of energy and money-speaking devices that interoperate with one another.
So who is opposed to Lightning Network? Let's get into a little bit of controversial. We only have about 2 minutes to control that, but in terms of what you may have heard or whatever, in terms of people's phobias, what have you heard that people are like, oh no, we don't want to go in that direction? What type of excuses are they making?
Yeah, I would say mostly it's around other blockchains that are like, okay, we can solve this speed issue in another way. We can solve the scalability issue in another way, but I'm personally a Bitcoin maximalist, and I would rather solve on the Bitcoin blockchain than come up with another thing that presents their own challenges as well. That's, I would say those are the main people who are opposed to Lightning, but I think Lightning is the right direction, building the second layer on top of the blockchain to make it faster, efficient, and scalable. as opposed to taking, because most of these blockchains, they're code based, probably half at least is based on Bitcoin anyway. So it makes sense for us to build on top of that Bitcoin blockchain as opposed to starting another blockchain. Yeah, that's my opinion. But those are the most people who are against a Bitcoin Lightning Network.
Didier, you're on mute.
I thought it was going to be the banks that are going to be the most opposition. But Eric, you want to conclude with some final thoughts? We have like 1 6.
Yeah, just in closing, I mean, again, just to reiterate some of the thoughts that other people shared earlier. I mean, both Bitcoin itself is still in the extremely early phase, right? And Lightning as an extension of that is just the next step forward. And we're extremely early in Lightning. I think everybody listening would do well to just go to lightning.network, lightning.community, Jameson Lopp's resources, install the Moon wallet, MUUN, and just start playing around with it, because it's a skill set that will become more and more useful as time goes on. As the banks lose their power, as governments lose their power, Bitcoin is really our salvation at the end of the day. And I really encourage everybody to dig in as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Way too much, way too short of a time duration. I wrote down a lot of links from loop.net to BTC Pay to AfriBlocks to lightning.network to lightning.connect, I think it was community. Yeah, a lot of links. I definitely like to thank Alex of Bilmari, and also Sangaye of AfriBlocks and Bilmari, Eric of Fabric, and Jarek, of course, of Gemini, for giving your insight. It's been real exciting times, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot. And hopefully everyone watching is looking forward to delving into this micropayment solution, and that improves upon speed as well as cost and allows people to do business better and faster. Thank you.